James Averis here for Fight News Australia. I'm with Kitt Campbell, the current Hex FC welterweight champion. He will defend his title against Matt on Friday, March 23rd at the Melbourne Pavilion at Hex FC. Thank you very much for joining me, Kitt. Once again, how are you?
Good, thank you. Thank you for having me.
No worries, mate. So before we get into the fight, I want to talk about your background a little bit, how you got into mixed martial arts and whether you're a fan of the sport growing up or if you're more of just the type of competitive guy who just likes to get in there.
So my background is in judo. I started judo when I was a teenager. From there, I transitioned into MMA, picked up my striking by about age 17 or 18 and, fell in love with it, decided to mix it all together and jumped straight in professional. So, since then, I haven't looked back.
Why did you start judo? Is it something your parents got yourself into, or you just interested in it as a kid? Or
my dad did it in his younger days when he was living back in Scotland. I think he won a couple of national championships. So he decided to get me into it at an early age to keep me out of trouble. So.
And when did the MMA start coming in? Were you watching it on television, watching the pay-per-views at the time and that sort of thing?
I was always a fan of it, whilst I was doing judo. I always liked the grappling aspect of it. So, yeah, I used to watch the guys like George St. Pierre, BJ Penn, all those boys, Randy Couture and stuff. So, they're kind of pioneers of the sport, and they're pretty much the guys that got me into it, got me keen on it. So, yeah.
And I understand you were working as a Sparky, but you've been fortunate enough to be able to train martial arts full-time now. The money on the regional scene, it's not life-changing. How has it been transitioning from working full-time to training full-time?
Been a massive struggle. I started training full-time about 2 years ago. Since then, it's been a struggle financially, physically, all the other stuff. So, but that's what makes victory even more sweeter, all the struggles that you got to go through to get there. And, I got that dream in my head, so hopefully one day it'll all pay off.
So you're quite happy to be dropping the tools behind and just training, focusing full-time?
Yeah, just dedicating my life to it now. So, I'm at that stage where I got it. I'm fighting guys that are doing the same thing, and I can't let them have that upper edge on me. So, I got to dedicate my life to it as well. And
now that you have been training a couple of times a day, how much do you feel like you have improved?
Oh, massively, like I said, training 2 to 3 times a day, dedicating my whole life to it. When I was working, you'd work your, 8 or 10 hour shift a day and then go train in 4 hours of the night. And by the end of it, you'd be exhausted and not enjoying yourself. But this, I'm able to, dedicate my life to it and, really focus on training and getting the job done.
And with your judo background, what skills have you been focusing on more recently? Do you tend to practice your striking a lot more because you've already got the judo skills sorted?
I like to use my grappling as sort of my backups in my fight. If the guy's trying to take me down, at least I'll be able to use my grappling background to defend the takedown more so than looking for the takedown in the grapple. So now I'm really keen on my striking, and that's what I want to do. I want to try to get in there and knock your head off. So my striking's really my forte now, and I'll use my grappling as my backup.
With that being said, I saw that you entered in a Grappling Industries Jiu-Jitsu competition recently, and you got the gold medal. You obviously still like to compete in the Jiu-Jitsu competitions as well?
Yeah, if they pop up here and there, I'll jump in and have a roll. I always enjoy competing, so whatever it is, I'll jump in and have a crack. It's good to keep active whilst you're outside of fights.
What belt are you in Jiu-Jitsu?
Purple.
So do you still train with the Gion, or now that you're focusing on MMA, do you do more no-gi?
I haven't done gi in a while. It's more just no-gi. I did a lot of gi growing up, with my judo and stuff. And then my first few classes of jiu-jitsu was just all gi, and then, went through a stage where it was just gi and no-gi. So, but now pretty much just all no-gi.
And the judo techniques that you grew learning up, how have they transitioned to MMA? Obviously, you don't have the collars and the sleeves. It's a bit more slippery. Do you feel that they have been affected?
Well, it's able. I don't know. it's different, you know, without the gi. Obviously, in MMA, you don't have the gi, so to be able to transition, I mean, I suppose it's just like, you know, it's the same as grappling. Like wrestlers and stuff, they have to do the same sort of thing, transition into, you know, being able to grapple in the cage. Yeah, I don't know. Hard one.
And you mentioned before that you want to be taking. You mentioned before that you want to be taking people's heads off these days instead of grappling as much, and you certainly tried to do that in your recent win over John Bateman. Were you surprised that he was able to take your shots?
Yeah, I got a lot of respect for John. You know, he took a lot of shots. I was trying to you know, smash him across those 5 rounds, and he was eating a lot of punches the whole time. So, you know, I learned a lot from that fight too. I went to the body a few times, and you know, I saw him wince looking back at the replays. So, you know, I reckon if I had kept going to the body more often, I would have finished the fight a lot earlier. But you know, I was happy to go the full 5 rounds and get that under my belt and know that I'm capable of doing that. So, I got a lot of respect for John. He took a beating for all 5 rounds. You know, I was trying to take his head off.
And it obviously helps your confidence moving forward that you were able to go the distance and get 5 rounds under your belt. How were you feeling in those 4th and 5th rounds with your cardio and that sort of stuff?
My cardio was still up. You know, I could have gone an extra, you know, 4 or 5 rounds after that too. I always make sure that I'm training like it's a title fight. Even if it's not a title fight, I train like it's a title fight. I'm always doing my 5-minute rounds. So, you know, once I get in there, it's easier.
And your first title defense is against Kiwi fighter Matt Vaile. He's a 4-time defending XFC welterweight champion, only got 1 loss in his career. It's a very tough fight and intriguing matchup for the Australasian MMA scene. Have you watched much of your opponent, and what do you think of him?
Yeah, I've done a fair bit of study on Matt, watching how he flinches and stuff. You know, his next moves and everything. You know, I got respect for Matt. He's pretty well rounded, but he's just not as explosive as me. I just copped a phone call. Sorry.
You're all right, bro. What were you saying about Matt?
Yeah, what was I saying about him? Yeah, I think I fought tougher guys in my career. I think I'm a lot more explosive than he is, and I don't think he's ever fought anyone like me. So he's going to get a shock once he gets in there.
We are having an absolute nightmare with this interview today.
Computer's trashed everything.
It's all good. It's all good. We'll do some editing and make it look good. So you don't think Matt has ever fought someone quite like you with your skill set, even though he does have quite the good record?
Yeah, he's fought good guys on his record, but a lot of them drop their balls, you know, once they've gone in there to fight him. So I'm defending my belt. I'm going to be revved up, and you know, I think he hasn't fought anyone like me before, especially on fight night.
And it is Hex FC champion versus the XFC champion. Two guys with titles coming together. Will you be asking for the XFC title if you do defeat him?
I'll just tell him to bring all 4 belts, and I'll take them off him on the night.
That'd be pretty cool to see. Do you feel like you have to win to show that Hex is the premier promotion in Australia? Obviously, XFC is the longest reigning promotion, but this is really a promotion versus promotion fight in a lot of ways.
Yeah, well, I mean, Hex is the biggest promotion in Australia at the moment. So I don't know, if I beat the XFC champ, it proves that, you know, the quality of fighters are better on Hex.
And there's a lot of speculation that the winner will get the call to the UFC. Do you expect that will be happening? Have you been in contact with them previously?
We've been in contact, and now I'm hoping that this is enough to get that call up. You know, I've fought the best in Australia. I'll continue to fight the best in Australia if I don't get the call up. And I'm just happy to fight. So I'll fight anyone, anywhere until I get that call up.
And you started your career at middleweight, is that right?
Yeah, at middleweight.
And the cut down to welterweight, it's been okay? You don't have any plans of moving back up or anything?
No, it's been fine. You know, if I got to fight middleweight, I'll take a middleweight fight. But I feel more natural at welterweight, feel a lot more quicker, sharper, and the weight cut's easy. So, you know, I think it was good transition down to welterweight.
And I've seen that you've been training with Dan Kelly and Jimmy Crute. How's it been training with some of these guys, getting the experience from a guy like Daniel Kelly and also a young guy, bigger guy like Jimmy Crute?
Yeah, it's good. You know, we catch up a couple of times a week to do some sparring. You know, having guys of that caliber, it's good to test yourself against and sort of see where your skill level's at. And you know, it's been good. Good vibes, good training, hard training. So you know, some of the best guys in Australia and the world at the moment. So, you know, it's good having those guys in your corner.
And Australia does have their first UFC champion at the moment in Robert Whittaker. For a guy like you on his way up, wanting to break into the UFC, and I presume you want to go all the way to the top, how good is it to see a guy like Rob Whittaker hold the belt and do most of his training entirely in Australia?
It's good. Like, you know, a lot of the guys, they used to travel overseas to get their training camps done. Now we don't have to do that anymore because the pedigree of MMA in Australia is, you know, half the time it's better than the States. It's better than Thailand. You know, we've got enough training partners here, and it's cool to see an Aussie up there on the big stage with the belt around him, you know. It just shows that it's possible for an Aussie to do it.
Do you feel like there is a really big growth in Australian MMA happening at the moment? Guys like Tai Tuivasa, Tyson Pedro, obviously Whittaker as well. It looks like Australian MMA is kind of entering a glory period in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I mean, everyone from Australia is killing it at the moment. So, you know, they're just proving to the world that we're tough from down here and we're not to be taken lightly.
Kitt, thank you so much for joining me despite all our technical difficulties, bro. I appreciate it so much. Good luck with your fight against Matt Vaile on March 23rd at the Melbourne Pavilion in the Hex FC. All the best, bro.
Of course, thank you.